as a registered independent, I've voted Republican, I've voted Democrat. I'm a registered independent now for, 11 years or 12 years, something like that. And Rogan, you see, he was libertarian. He voted for Joe Jorgensen, which
he said he was voting for Bernie a few years.
Which we had Joe Jorgensen on here. I don't know if she'll ever come back on. I don't know if she'll ever. I asked her back. She was upset. She didn't want to come back on. But
you put a fork in her career.
But the point being is the following. He says with Aaron Rodgers, he sits there and he says, so what do we do? And he says, vote Republican. Aaron starts laughing. What did you think when Rogan is a guy that you would have never thought Rogan's going to say vote Republican? This guy pushed to legalize marijuana. This guy pushed to, talking about certain things that there's nothing about it would be Republican, but a guy like him is now saying voting Republican. What was your reaction when you saw that?
So when I saw what Rogan said, it was very similar to what I had when I saw what Zuckerberg did. I was like, good for you, Joe. Speak your heart. If you've got a voice, you've got an awesome voice, man. If you've got a voice, speak your heart. If you're speaking to anything else, you're kind of wasting your voice, right? Joe spoke with his voice. Zuck spoke with his voice. I think that's really good stuff. It's important to remember that human beings are not left or right. Human beings are all a mix of both. We want what we want. We are motivated by the things that are important and motivate us. So you're not all red, you're not all blue. There's always a bell curve. So at the fat end of the bell curve, people are close to center. People believe in some things and believe in other things, but unfortunately, media doesn't give you a chance to be supportive of both. Media forces you to choose one or the other. And then they feed you lines from one or the other. And they move you closer and closer to the outsides of the bell curve until you choose to just stop reading the news, or you choose to just stop watching TV, or you choose to sit around and drink beer and watch sports games and bitch about the news all day, right? But media is in the business of forcing you to one side or the other. Human beings are not like that, right? I believe a woman should have the choice to take care of her own body. I do believe in the sanctity of life, but a woman should have the choice to take care of her own body. But the government does not need to tax me at 40%. I can spend my money wisely on my own. I don't need them to police my money. I don't need them to police what I'm doing in my bedroom. I don't need the government to police how I raise my children, or whether they're homeschooled or private schooled, or whether I'm dissatisfied with the public school. Right? We're all a mix of all sorts of different positions, and we are all getting frustrated by being forced to pick one side or the other. Should the government have access to know if you have that wart on your butt? That's the question. I think they're curious to know, knowing the way they are. Maybe you should stop mooning people so they won't find out. Obviously that's an analogy for other.
Are there
areas,
any news sources that they legitimately trust? Like you're saying, you don't trust the media. That was your biggest discrepancy with what today. What outlets you say? Okay, because Pat said that when it comes to polls, he said Pew and what was the other one? Rasmussen?
Gallup.
Rasmussen. He trusts that. All right. They're not 100% accurate, but with a level of certainty, probability, like you term to use. Yep. What media outlets do you trust?
So I don't trust any of them fully. At best I trust about 85%. The way that I handle the news is I will read competing news sources on the same coverage on purpose and see where they overlap. Right?
Give us an example. So, the Wall Street Journal.
So The Economist.
Okay.
The Economist is a great example.
We got 2 minutes, just so you know.
Absolutely,
go ahead.
Sir. The Economist is a great example. CNN is a great example. Fox News is not such a great example. Yahoo News is actually a decent. USA Today is actually a decent example. Al Jazeera is a decent example. BBC is a decent example. These are all places that I'm 80, 85%. Even though they consistently,
what did you say about MSNBC?
Consistently lean one side. I don't look at MSNBC.
How about CNN?
CNN's on my list only because they are very consistently left. And when I started seeing them trash talking Biden about 9 months ago, I was like, there's a change in CNN, right? They still go with popular opinion. They're still just trying to sell ad space, right? But when it comes to who's going to get my time, I'll look at them. I'll cross-reference them. I'll see what's the same. I'll see what's different. I'll believe what's the same, and I'll challenge what's different.
Interesting. Okay, this was great. By the way, if you enjoyed this as much as I did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to hear more content of Andy has a YouTube channel, which I want us to put that below in the chat box, as well as description title, if you can put that down there so people can go subscribe to his channel and find more content of him.
And make sure to check out Everyday Spy.
Yeah, everydayspy.com is my homepage, and that's where I teach all of this stuff to anybody who's willing to learn.
Everydayspy.com. What a
Everydayspy.com.
sick domain. Seriously.
And what's the name of your YouTube
Everydayspy.com.
channel?
Everyday Spy.
So it's all Everyday Spy.
Yeah.
You got it. You'll find me on all social media the same way.
If you like this short clip, make sure you click here to see the next clip or here to see the full podcast episode.